Boom! Welcome back to another episode of Evolving Through Experience, where we discussing growth in every aspect, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and beyond. Today, guys, we have a special guest. We got Sharnise in the building. How you feeling?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. First and foremost, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for inviting me.
Nah, for sure. So today, I'm gonna call this episode "Evolving Vibes with a Vegan." You obviously know why. We're gonna talk about that. I think this is the second vegan I had on the show, so it's always a pleasure because I be trying to convert everybody, but
Yeah.
low key, but they don't be going for it, so it's all good. So, like I said, thank you for coming on. So today, obviously, we're just gonna be talking about growth in every aspect. Like I already told you, I already know some of your story, but I want to go into that a little more. Starting with childhood, because obviously childhood is such a vital moment and pivotal moments in our lives that create us, pretty much build us to who we ultimately meant to be. So I want to start there for you.
Okay. So, I grew up in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
My family is mainly from up north, so I was able to experience both. So it wasn't just rural South Carolina like my peers, So I was always exposed to other cultures and other backgrounds. So I think that was real big for me. I grew up with both parents in the household,
Okay.
a brother, but it wasn't like TV,
Yeah.
picture perfect. It
Yeah.
wasn't like that. It was a lot of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like I was the only one who saw it.
Okay, and let's talk about that, and that's what we came to talk about. And I know you Jamaican, right? You said that.
No, my godparents saw it.
Your godparents. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So let's talk about that, because I know you said it's a lot of trauma, but at the same time, I think within these moments, if you caught that early, obviously you knew how to pretty much stop it and versus creating it again. Because I know we always say break generational curses, but I think a lot of people get caught up in creating new ones, not
Yeah.
realizing you're trying to break these old ones, but you start creating new ones. So let's just talk about that a little more, as far as like the traumas that you did see in your childhood.
It was with both parents, but I
Okay.
didn't realize both parents until I got older.
Mm-hmm.
See, I thought it was just one parent.
Mm-hmm.
Specifically that one parent.
I got
But
you.
once I got older, then it was okay. You were the problem too, and you can't break generational curses until you fully understand like how they affected you.
Mm-hmm.
So once you have a clear view of how it affected you, then you can start breaking it down. Like, okay, I'm not gonna do this to my children.
Correct.
Or you can catch different actions that you're doing, and you're like, you know what, my mom did that to me, or my dad did that to me, and I know how it made me feel in those moments. I don't want to do that to my child.
Correct.
So it's like you don't know beforehand all the time. Sometimes
Correct.
you're not even aware.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to see it happen. You have to see your child like drop their head and get sad, and then you're
Yeah.
like, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
And then you have to dig deep and do the work, and you're like, okay, let me fix this.
Nah, facts.
Yeah.
And I think, and with that, I'm glad you said that, because I definitely could say I could relate to that. So with that, do you feel like, or let's say this, some examples, you know how we always say, I'm not going to do this as a parent. And then do you feel like you ever got to a point where you did do those, not some of the same things, but things you said you wasn't going to do, then you later found out like, dang, I'm doing the same thing. And then it's like you said, you take that reevaluation.
I never had that, oh, when I get older, I'm not doing that. I never had that. It was more so like, okay, you're sick. Let's work on you. Like, I helped my parents heal a lot. So that's why we're able to have a relationship that we have now, because like I said, I was the only one that saw it. I was able to identify it, and I was able to put it in language so that they understood.
Yeah.
But prior to that, it was more so like, okay, you make me feel like this. I'm not going to deal with you because I already put it out on the table. If you don't want to fix it, then we just can't move forward.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like, I don't want to be like you, I'm not going to be like you. It was no resentment or anger in that way. It was more so like, why aren't you hearing me? I'm explaining to you the problem. Why can't you fix it?
Yeah.
Until my dad said to me one day, you're saying all of this, right? But where do I go from here? And once he said that to me, it registered. I understood, like, okay, now you're telling him the issue, but he didn't know it was an issue. He dealt with the same thing or even worse in his childhood. So now you have to give him direction on how to move forward with you and be a part of your kid's life. So I had to like direct a lot. It's like I had to be the emotional parent. So.
And do you feel like, when did that exactly happen? Because obviously this, like you said, this, you realized it in like your teenage years, correct? You said
Yeah.
okay, or your adulthood. So at
Actually,
what
my childhood.
child?
Yeah.
Well, you realized it, but like, when did you start? Pretty much like when you made that conversation and they started listening and truly hearing you to the point it's like now he's like, all right, where do I go from here? Like, what was the time frame on all of this?
I always spoke up about it.
Always okay.
In my childhood, I
Mhm.
spoke up about it.
Mhm.
So I would say, "You make me feel this," or I would
Mhm.
write long letters, like
Mm.
because I didn't want my language to come off as disrespectful.
Mhm.
So I would write letters and I would like hide them around the house so
Yeah.
they could find them because
That's
I didn't
smart.
know how to present it to
Present
them.
it.
You know, so I always said it, and a
Mhm.
lot of times he'll just laugh it off or
Mhm.
just say I'm sensitive or something like
Yeah.
that. So
I
it
realize
wasn't,
that.
yeah, it wasn't until last year actually
Mm.
that we went to a point where I was about to cut him off again,
Mhm.
you know, and that's when he said, "What do I do moving
From here.
forward?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, that's beautiful because for you to say you caught this in your childhood, most children not gonna catch that in their childhood to the point where they may know they have the emotions, but not the intellect to understand like how to communicate it or even try. Because most, like you said, would have tried to have the conversation and it would came off disrespectful. But you took it a next level that many not gonna think of writing letters, and like you said, you repeatedly did it. So that's just a beautiful thing that you caught it this young, and you was obviously able to pretty much communicate it in different forms. So
Yeah.
yeah, so with that also, I just want before we even transition, like I said, so you said last year. So when was the first time last year? I know you got to a point where it was about to happen again, but between that first time, even with your mom, what was that phase for her? Like when did she be like, all right, I came to a realization of what you're saying, and like now I'm going to go from here or make things better or try.
I was an adult as well.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm from South Carolina. So I
Mhm.
moved here with my nail career.
Mhm.
And my mom was like, "You're not going by yourself with twins.
Mhm.
I'm coming to help you. Can I
Mhm.
come?" So
Mhm.
I say, "Yeah." You
Mhm.
know, so I'm taking care of my mom and the
Mhm.
twins.
Mhm.
So at that point is where I really started to see,
Mhm.
like, okay, it wasn't just my dad.
Yeah.
You know, it was
Mm.
you too. And I saw her rubbing things off on my kids, and I'm like,
Mm.
dang, you used to do that to me too.
Mhm.
Okay, we're not doing this.
Yeah.
Like I'll figure out the parenthood thing by
Mhm.
myself. Thank you
Yeah.
for helping me. I really appreciate it, but I can't move forward with
Mhm.
this because I don't want them to have to recover like I had to recover.
Yeah.
You know.
Repeated
So
cycles.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So I broke it down to her and
Mhm.
I explained, and then we had to separate. You
Mhm.
know, she had to move back home. She bought a house.
Mhm.
It wasn't like I just kicked her out. You know,
Yeah.
she was able to prosper,
Mhm.
but she
Thankfully.
was also able to get in a space where she was alone
Mhm.
and she was able to heal.
Yeah.
You know, because she left her parents' house,
Mhm.
got married, had children,
Mhm.
and it was never any alone time.
Mhm.
And she also had a childhood
Yeah.
that was damaging.
Mhm.
So her having this alone time, she was
Mhm.
able to understand. She was
Mhm.
able to get it together, and now she's much better. I mean, sometimes
Beautiful.
it's still things, you know, and sometimes I just deal with it because
Mhm.
everything is not going to be corrected. Everything's not going to
Yeah.
be perfect,
Mhm.
you know. But for the most part, it's not damaging my children,
Correct. Yeah.
and it's not continuously damaging me.
Correct. Which is the biggest too, because you got to lead the children. So with that, as far as that part, when would you say would you feel like you having children it made you have the ability to give them more grace? Because now you've seen it from you're a parent now. When you had your twins, would you say that gave you the opportunity to give them more grace now that you became a parent? And you see
No.
things from a different
Yeah,
perspective a
but
little bit?
no,
No? Okay.
it didn't allow me to
No
give them
grace.
grace.
I got you.
It confused me even more because
What?
I knew the feeling of what it was
Mm-hmm.
to have children now.
Yeah.
So how could you make your
Mm.
child feel like that?
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then if your child is openly expressing it to you,
Mm-hmm.
how can you not
Yeah.
correct it? How can you
Yeah.
not want to look in the mirror and check yourself?
Yeah.
You know, I've been saying that since I was a kid. What's
Mm-hmm.
wrong?
Yeah.
You know, so no grace.
Yeah. No grace.
Not
No, I
in
got
that
you.
aspect.
Yeah, not in that aspect. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Nah, that's valid though. I appreciate you sharing that because I would have thought like because when I became a parent for certain stuff, I give grace. I could say I give grace because I understand how but parenthood is hard. But I'm glad you said in that aspect because in other
Yeah.
aspects you would say you gave grace though.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. I
okay,
think if it was like financial or something
okay.
like that,
Got
then
you.
I'll say, okay, I get it. You
Yeah.
couldn't afford this at that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Okay.
I've been there, you know,
Mm-hmm.
now I experience it.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the issue. It
Mm-hmm.
was like more so emotional trauma, more
Got you.
so than anything.
So what do you do like when you have to get to those moments of when you got to go into solitude or even in the past to help you overcome? I know you said you have helped heal them tremendously, which is a great thing, and it really should have been the other way around. But if that's how it's meant to be, at the end of the day, you still got
Yeah.
to the end goal. So, what are some of the things you've done to help you yourself heal? Is in those moments of solitude.
I meditate
Mm-hmm.
deeply.
Mm-hmm.
Like I retract. I go deep inside.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find that realm,
Mm-hmm.
that inner God, and
Yeah.
I go in
Facts.
that space and I
Mm-hmm.
sit there until the answers come to me.
Yeah.
And they're gonna come because God speaks to you.
Yeah. Facts.
Especially once you enter that space
Mm-hmm.
and you allow everything around you to be silent so you
Mm-hmm.
can hear, it just happens.
Okay. Nah, facts. Hey, maybe you gonna host some of those classes too, huh?
I don't know if I could teach intuition though.
You can't, but maybe some. Well, I'm saying, let's say some people that already got it, but helping them go to a next
Yeah.
level type thing. Yeah, because I mean, if you don't got it, I don't. I see what you mean. It's gonna be hard to teach that, but if you already on that same energy and you feel that, then you could probably work with those same type of people. So with that next, as far as motherhood, when did you have your twins? Were they playing? If you don't mind me asking.
Definitely not
Definitely not.
playing.
Okay, definitely
Yeah,
not.
I
Okay.
just graduated high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was 18.
Mm-hmm.
Like a month after high school
Yeah.
graduation, I found out I was pregnant. I was devastated.
So
You know?
okay, devastated. Hey, I feel you on that
Yeah.
because when I found out, I was like, whoa, I was in shock. So from a mother's perspective, like before we get into it even more, I want to ask you, you was devastated. So what was that process of you getting through that, of like deciding what route you was gonna go? Because I mean, for me personally, to be transparent, that was a conversation. It
Yeah.
wasn't expected. So what was that process? Because I know it's other mothers out there that may just have graduated, and some may are still in high school, fresh in high school or whatever, trying to figure out that process. So as a young person, even though you was obviously smart and intellectual young, what could you say to them?
Well, I had a plan,
Mm-hmm.
and being that I had situations with my parents, my
Mm-hmm.
plan was to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Having children was holding me back.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to battle with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then like what we just spoke about, like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, are your children going to be affected by what you go through?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to battle there. I
Mm-hmm.
had a full ride to college, but it was in my hometown, so I still had to stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a constant battle. I went into a depression. Like 2 weeks, I just stayed in my bed
Mm-hmm.
and watched Teen Mom. It was like a
Mm-hmm.
marathon, which was probably the worst thing.
You
But
could watch, right?
yeah, but that
Word.
happened. Then I went through this really deep spiritual
Mm-hmm.
situation,
Mm-hmm.
and
Feel
it
it
was
to
like outer
elaborate.
body.
Mm-hmm.
It's so crazy.
No, it's not gonna be crazy to me, and I think for my audience, it's not gonna be crazy. So if you don't mind, definitely elaborate.
So I had an abortion appointment set.
Okay.
So I would have dreams like
Mhm.
every night. Like I wouldn't even go to sleep because I was
Mhm.
having these dreams, and it was
Mhm.
these little things just like running up on me, like in the dark.
Yeah.
Like, why'd you do it?
Yeah.
Like that. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, so I
Yeah.
shouldn't get the abortion.
Yeah.
Like you're telling me no.
Yeah.
That's what this is. It's a lot of little seeds coming to
Yeah.
me. And at the time I didn't know it was twins.
Mm.
It was just these little white figments just coming at me.
Figments.
Yeah,
Coming,
it was
I
so
got you.
crazy, but it was scary because I can't identify what they were.
Mhm.
Like even now thinking back, I'm just like, what was that?
Mhm.
But now I know it was my babies,
Mhm.
and it was two of them.
Mm.
And I just kept saying I can't do it.
Mhm.
So like I said, I had the full rise to college.
Mhm.
My mom was like, "You still going?
Mhm.
We'll figure it out when it comes to how, but you're still going." I had definitely had support from my parents.
Thankfully, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You would definitely say that made a huge impact too. Then
Yeah.
their support.
And being in my hometown too, because when it was time for a daycare, a lady who my parents were friends with was just opening a daycare.
Mhm.
So at 3 months, my girls went to daycare. I went to college.
Mhm. Okay, you
Yeah.
still able to go then.
Yeah, I had
Okay.
a full ride. That
Yeah.
part was free.
Yeah, might as well.
I just had to figure out how we were gonna pay for daycare, and it was
Mhm.
cheap. Like
Mhm.
I'm from a small town, so it's like $75 a week.
Hey, well, they need to bring
Yeah.
those rates here. I pay 15 a month.
Yeah, it was 75
God
a week
knows.
for 2 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, for twins.
Wait,
Both of them.
75 each or
Together. She
God
gave me.
knows.
I got a discount because it was twins.
Yo, shout out to her. Nah, that's what's up. Cause 75 total a week? Nah, that's unheard of out here. But nah, that's what's up. So that's beautiful. So what now would you say, like, you having your kids, what obviously you already knew you had that spiritual pretty much experience. What would you say some of the things they've taught you to help you even grow even more since they've been born?
so much. You know,
Mhm.
they taught me my inner strength.
Mhm.
You know, like they really showed me my
Mhm.
power,
Mhm.
because it's been times that I had to make decisions,
Mhm.
you know, that if it was just me, I would have done
Yeah.
something else, you know,
Yeah.
but it was them. So I
Mhm.
had to either put everything on pause and make sure
Mhm.
I'm making the money to support them
Mhm.
and myself, or I had to, you know, stop everything. Like I had a
Mhm.
full salon in
Mhm.
South Carolina. After I graduated college, I was able to open a business.
Mhm.
I had to shut that down,
Mhm.
move to Atlanta because it was more of an opportunity.
Mhm.
You know, so they just taught me that drive. You
Mhm.
know, like really go. You gotta
Mhm.
go because we're dependent on you.
Mhm.
You know,
Beautiful.
it's weird because it's like the other part, like the spiritual part and how to
Mhm.
guide them, all of that came second nature. Like
Mhm.
that was just easy.
Yeah.
You know,
You're a mother, of
discipline,
course.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part came easy. That
Yeah.
wasn't confusing.
Mhm.
I didn't even have to ask anyone questions.
Mhm. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. So what could you tell like a mother that's like trying to figure it out right now that, like I said, I know I kind of asked it already. So let's say they don't have that intuition where it just came to them on a discipline or trying to figure out like how to raise them. What could you give them an intangible to let them know like one is possible, but this is a step you can take even though everybody's steps is different.
You just have to stay focused. You gotta
Mhm.
put your mind to it. You have to want to
Mhm.
do it.
Mhm.
Like nobody else can say like, okay, these are the steps I took. You take
Mhm.
them just like this. Like
Yeah.
it's your path. You
Facts.
know, you have to say I have to do this
Mhm.
because it's no other option,
Mhm.
and just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Facts.
and when it comes to parenting, in those moments, like when you're under that pressure, you have to. That's who you give grace to.
Mhm.
Those babies,
Yeah.
because
Facts.
they're new here. They
Mhm.
don't know what's going on.
Mhm.
They're looking for to you for guidance.
Correct.
So you have to know who you are to be able to guide them.
Facts. Exactly. And do you feel like you ever been, because obviously I know they're older now, so do you ever feel like you've been overprotective and you try to like learn how to like bag back from being overprotective, although it's coming from good reasons?
I'm not overprotective at
Okay.
all.
Oh, not at all. Okay.
No,
You
when
never felt like
I
you
mean
was.
when it comes to, you're not gonna be exposed to that. But
Okay. Yeah.
I don't think that's
Yeah, yeah, that's
overprotective.
not overprotective. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think that's being a parent. Like I think certain times when they should be exposed to certain things or having certain conversations. So I definitely agree. Do you feel like well when you once you had the twins at any point, I think I know I asked you this, I don't remember the answer, that you was like, all right, I'm not having no more, or you still wanted more, I believe.
Oh yeah,
After
you
yeah,
asked me.
I did.
Not on here though. You
Yeah,
asked me
yeah,
on the phone. But instantly, I was like,
yeah,
I'm never doing this
yeah,
again. Like I after that, I went abstinent for like years.
yeah.
I was like, I'm not
Mhm.
even doing
Yeah.
that part because I
Yeah.
know what comes from it.
Mhm.
Nah, I was not trying to have kids again.
Which part when you say what comes from it, obviously because we know it was a beautiful thing and you wind up going through with it. So which part where it was like I'm not doing this again? Was it the actual birth that pretty much like I ain't gonna say scarred you, I don't want to put that out there, but pretty much pushed you to be like, nah, I'm not having this again. Cause I feel like that I'm not having no more. I'm sticking to
Yeah.
my word, like, and I've been doing great. So I want to know what was the steps of got you to be like, I'm not doing this again. Was it the birth? Was it the raising when you had those moments where you had to make hard decisions? Like, what was it that made you decide, like, at that point? Because obviously we know now, but yeah, at
Yeah.
that point.
I'm smiling because it's like it's so many reasons.
Give
Like,
us all. Give them
but
all.
the main thing though,
Hmm.
honestly, is the partnership, like with the
Mm.
parent.
Okay.
You know, so it's being my age where I
Hmm.
come from.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna just walk outside and find someone who
Yeah.
matches my energy
Yeah.
or understands where I'm coming from
Hmm.
or can even bring themselves to think on that level.
Yeah.
You know, not to lower anyone, but
Yeah. Yeah. It's
it's
a
just
fact.
what it is.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
is what it is. Yeah.
So with that, I'm like, okay, I'm not trying to do this again.
Without a partner.
Yeah,
Okay.
but not necessarily marriage though.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
got
just
you.
someone who
Yeah.
understands. Even if
Yeah.
the partner is a friend who's like,
Hmm.
okay, you could have the baby because you know we want to have children,
Hmm.
but I'm gonna help you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Hmm.
and I think the thing about it just being a partnership and
Hmm.
not necessarily marriage,
Hmm.
I think that still is something that,
Beautiful.
yeah, it
Yeah,
is
for sure.
definitely. But I think with society and oh, you got to be married before you have kids and all of that, like that's still something that I work through.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's like I don't care to
Yeah.
be married. Like
Yeah.
I'm not the girl who planned her wedding
Yeah.
already and all that
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And I told you this too. Like, that's one of my favorite quotes, F society beliefs, because if you spell out beliefs, lies is in the middle. Like, it's a matter of what route you want to take. So I'm glad you said that, because society going to try to put the propaganda out and say you got to do it this way. And I think at the end of the day, you just got to do what you want to do. If it feel great for you, I'm in full support. I just don't. I agree 1,000% still. Like, the society believes that you got to get married by this age, or you even got to be married, or their quote unquote status of what marriage really it looks like is different for everybody. And if that makes you happy, if you want to follow that, so be it. So I'm glad you said that for sure. So with that, then, so as far as I know, you said you transitioned. So let's just double hit the vegan. So what made you go vegan? Even though I already know, but we got to tell the audience.
Okay, so my health.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was working all the time because I had a nail salon.
Mm-hmm.
So, and twins,
Yeah.
you know, and I started to experience like extreme menstrual cramps. And it was before like high school, which is how I got pregnant. I was in the middle of switching birth controls because it wasn't working for me anymore.
Yeah.
You know, but
the birth controls never work. I'm sorry. Same.
Yeah, they don't. But
work.
that's what I had to come to realize. It was making me sick. Like, I would have to go home from school if my cycle came on in class. Like, I was on the floor. My teachers knew, like, no, call your mom.
Yeah.
Because it was that painful. And I was doing a client. She was from DR, Dominican Republic. And she was like, in my country, we don't have PMS. I'm like, what? You know what PMS is?
Nah, explain.
It's like what women go through just like before their period is about to come. Like, you know,
like, is that spotting or something?
It's premenstrual symptoms.
Okay.
You know? So it's just like some women have cravings, you know, cramps, back pains. Some people's vision go blurry. Like, it's just all types of stuff, just hormonal stuff.
Yeah.
So she was like, we don't have that in our country. And I'm like, what? So she did a poll on like Facebook or something. And everybody in her country was like, we never heard of that. So I'm like, dang, what's in our country that's making us experience this?
Talk about it.
You know, so that was an eye-opener. And then just as time went on, I started to have seizures. When it was time, like, my PMS just got worse and worse and worse. So I went to the OB, and they wanted to put me on a birth control. And I'm like, okay, if the birth control has this hormone, this hormone, this hormone, I can't take it, because I knew that those hormones were already intense in my body naturally. So I don't need more estrogen. I'm a woman. You don't have to give me more.
Fact.
You know, so my neurologist, because I was having seizures, I had to go to a neurologist too, and I had a history of migraines. So he was like, why would she try to give you more hormones if we don't know the issue? So he cleaned like my slate from everything. Like, you're not taking this, detox from this, and then we're going to test you. The hospital took a long time to clear the test. It was like 3 months. And he was like, you're going to go through 3 more cycles, and you could possibly pass out in that time. We're not doing that. What makes you feel better? And I told him, like, when I smoke, I feel the best, like, at ease. You know, so then he said, cut dairy, cut meat, you know, cut fish. Go completely natural. Don't take no medicine. You know, find a herb to fix everything. And this was a white doctor. Not saying that it makes a difference, but it was shocking to me. You know, so when I did it, when I started to do it, within like 6 months, I didn't have any issues. So I'm like, it worked, you know? So I went full on.
You were shocked.
Yeah, I went full on.
Yeah. What did you ever go back to those old other doctors and show them, and did they ever? Nah. Okay. Because I know usually when you do that, they be like so in shock, because it's like, bro, like, how is it possible? They only study the disease and when it's too late, or treating, like you said, giving it other side effects when you're trying to avoid that too. So they continue to double down on the BS. Yeah, so I didn't know if you went back. I know, like, some people have, and they still just be in shock. But it's like, bro, the proof is in the pudding or whatnot. Like you said, you went through the new doctor, the white doctor, and he put you onto all these other things, like just from a natural aspect, and it worked immediately. Immediately 6 months.
Yeah, I would have to go to doctors from my childhood. Like, I was always like in and out of I'm allergic to this or whatever. You know, it was always an issue. And it was all because of, like, stuff I'm using on my hair, my skin, diet. Once I realized that, like, I was always breaking out in hives. It was always something wrong.
Yeah.
So once I realized the root, you know, I just cut it all off.
Facts.
I couldn't go back to my allergist. He was in, like, his 90s, and I think he passed away.
Yeah.
But he had me on, like, allergy shots twice a week, you know, as a kid. So all of that stuff affected me, too.
Yeah.
You know, so I had to detox from everything.
How often do you detox now? Still?
I don't really go through detoxes,
Now, okay.
especially now that I'm pregnant.
Got you, yeah.
You know, but I just eat clean.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so when did the chef start part? And I was meant to say this too. Like the only issue I have is I ain't trying none of the food yet, but keyword yet. So when
Yeah.
did the chef transition start? Because obviously I know you transitioned, but let's talk about that transition because becoming vegan, I don't even like to use the word vegan, but for the lack of a better word,
Yeah.
switching over to the natural remedies and everything of that nature, what was that process for you?
Well, I still don't consider myself a chef like
Okay.
everybody does.
You
But
a chef. I don't care what nobody say. You see your
I just
page?
don't. I know.
Shoot.
I don't. I just.
I'm gonna put it on you though.
Thank you. But I was working, you know,
Mhm.
like as a nail tech for
Mhm.
10 years, and it was so much on me.
Mhm.
And I went through, like, I had a stillborn in
Mhm.
2018.
My condolences.
Thank you. So after that, it was like I really went deep into my healing, and it
Mhm.
was hard giving to so many people,
Mhm.
like in that space,
Mhm.
because when you're doing nails, you're servicing someone.
Yeah.
You're holding their hands. You know,
Mhm.
you're feeling their energy. My
Mhm.
energy might not be here for you today because
Yeah.
I'm somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like I'm in another room.
Yeah. Facts.
You know, battling.
Mhm.
So I slowly started to realize, like, okay, this isn't for me. I gotta find something else.
Mhm.
You know, and then my daughters really needed me.
Mhm.
Like they were in public school, but I can see that they needed
Yeah.
me to teach them.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, so I stopped and I started homeschooling.
Mhm.
But I still needed to make money or find a way,
Mhm.
you know, to be able to make money while I'm
Homeschooling.
here.
Mhm.
So what am I doing every day? 3 times a day, I'm feeding them. I'm
Mhm.
cooking. You know, and this is already my lifestyle. Why
Mhm.
not put it out there?
Mhm.
Why not promote it?
Yeah.
So I just started posting.
Took off since.
Yeah.
And what year was this exactly that you did the transition?
2021.
2021. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so 2021, not
Yeah, it's
not long
fresh.
ago. Yeah, fresh. All right, so cool. So what was like even with that transition then what was like the biggest battles? I know you said you was cooking, but like what was your biggest battles of trying to find food? Cuz I know when I transitioned, it was like what can I eat? I'm so used to something else. So like what was that process for you?
Well, I was already vegan
Mhm.
about 5-6 years before
Oh, okay.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's why I decided to promote it because it's
Mhm.
like I'm already doing this.
Got you.
This is
Okay.
second nature to me
Mhm.
at this point.
Mhm.
But when it comes to that, like I said, I went vegan when I was still in South Carolina.
Mhm. Okay.
So, and that's a food desert. You
Mhm.
know, there's no options.
Yeah.
Even when I go back now, there's no food.
Mhm.
So I just had to really get creative and figure it
Mhm.
out. I had to educate myself a
Yeah.
lot. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of the times fasting was a thing.
Mhm.
Like that's when I detoxed and fast the most, when
Yeah.
I knew I didn't have food.
Mhm.
So it was like, okay, just teach yourself to fast.
Correct.
Get in deep into your meditation and
Mhm.
learn what fasting can do for you.
Yeah.
You know, I was small. I was really small.
Yeah, I seen
but
you posted that. Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
was really small, but I was clear,
yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
mentally.
Which is beautiful, a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. And then you started transitioning, like you said, heavier weights and things of that nature that pretty much help bring the weight back on.
Yeah, and
Okay.
learning more so what to eat, what I
What to
could eat, like
Mhm.
grains,
Mhm.
you know, legumes. I was
Mhm.
just learning more foods. Like
Yeah,
I've
got
been
you.
exposed to way more fruits and veggies
Mhm.
and different types of beans or grains and ways
Mhm.
to cook it than
Mhm.
I've ever have.
Mhm.
Like when you're not vegan, you stick to what you know. You know,
Correct.
like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't eat that. You
Yeah.
just don't try it.
Yeah.
But when you're vegan, you like,
Open
okay,
your
let me see
mind.
what this is about, you know?
Mhm. Nah,
So
facts.
yeah.
I gotta show you something I just had the other day when I got back in town. Well, before I got back in town, I had some different food and it was fire. But I'm gonna show you that off camera. But being that we speaking about education, I want to double back to homeschooling that process. So what was that process for? Because I think everybody should be homeschooling their children. Not say I tell people what to do. I think you need to teach your children more than you let in a public school or even private school teach your
Yeah.
children because then you don't know what they're truly instilling, even from the subliminal messages, which is probably the most important at the end of the day. So, what was that process for you to start homeschooling?
My main thing, like, was I understood the education department. My mom worked in the education
Mm-hmm.
department, and so did my great grandmother. So
Mm-hmm.
I understood, you know, it's standards
Mm-hmm.
that they give out to each
Mm-hmm.
state every year. That's
Yeah.
what you have to follow. So no matter the level that your child is on, they have to follow these standards,
Mm-hmm.
and they have to move forward so they can get done, so they can do testing at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, if your child does not meet that,
Mm-hmm.
they're just gonna pass them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I want my child to gain.
Yeah, facts.
You know, so I went to multiple meetings. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I had tutors. I put her in this program with
Mm-hmm.
school. You know, then they tried to give her like a
IEP.
IEP.
I knew you was about to
They
say
tried to
it.
give her an IEP.
Bullshit.
So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This baby is so intelligent.
Yeah.
You know, like, but I still
Mm-hmm.
went through it. My mom worked with special needs, so she
Mm-hmm.
was like, the IEP can protect her
Mhm.
in ways.
Mhm.
So try.
Mm-hmm.
So I did.
Pros and cons.
Yeah, I did. And I just felt like it was BS, you
Yeah.
know? So I stopped. I
Yeah.
was like, all right, cool. The pandemic hit,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what really pushed it.
Mhm.
Because once they started doing school online,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw that they was just giving them busy work,
Yeah.
and you have a whole year that you're lacking. You're not
Mhm.
learning this year.
And then they're gonna hold it against you in next year when things open back up.
But they're not going to hold it
Mhm.
against them. They're just going to pass them along. You
In the
know?
long
and
run,
you're
it's gonna
not
hurt.
going to get
Yeah.
it.
Correct.
You're never going to grasp those concepts that you
Mhm.
could have grasped when you was 6 or 7 or
Mhm.
8. And now
Fact.
you're trying to grasp it at 15.
Mm-hmm.
It's 20 times harder.
Mm-hmm.
Just because when your mind was open to
Mhm.
soak all of that up, you missed it.
Yeah.
So
You ever read the Dr. Umar book? Special I forgot the name of it. I read it a few years back, but it was his book talking about like the IEPs and the whole school system, how it originated, and then like I said, the IEPs and why they instill it and how much like the government gets from it, even like the director of the education overall, like their original views on us, especially as is black people in America or whatever, things of that. Have you ever heard that book?
nah.
Nah, I'm gonna have to give it to you. I read it a few years back, but it just broke it down, like understanding. That's how I knew you was about to say IEP, like how it's
Yeah.
all a business for them at the end of the
Oh,
day. It
yeah.
makes sense pushing it in, pushing it out. So yeah, I definitely gonna have to share that with you after the fact. But I want to double back. So what I know you said it was so many different things. What was some other, or maybe two other things that made you feel like, all right, I don't want to have another child? Cause I know you said it was so many. I got to double back because I got my reasons
oh my
too.
Goodness.
I want to
Why
see if
you don't
any.
want to have another child?
Hey.
you like wait.
I'm glad you said the partner. I think the partner is definitely important. And thankfully, me and mine had a great relationship. Even when we wasn't together, we still had a great relationship. With the separation, it wasn't like we didn't focus on a priority. It was always like some level-headed people. It's always level-headed at the end of the day. And I've seen how I got friends that they BMs and ran them over with a car, like all type of stuff. So I'm like, yo, like I don't never want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I never had that situation. It was just like, with me, it's so many different things that I wanted to do in life, and I'm still doing them, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like a child slowed that down. Not a knock, because I don't regret my child by any means. It's just like it slowed it down. It's like, why would I go do this again? I'm good with him. Like, I'm great.
Yeah.
I could still do everything I still want to do, even though it probably slowed it down. Now I can speed it back up because he's getting older now. So I was like, I'm not gonna go back to this and then them terrible twos phases. Oh man, I'm not doing this again. So yeah, that's how I feel. That's one of my
Yeah.
reasons. So
Yeah, okay. So just the challenges of being a parent is
yeah, like yeah, I enjoy it though. It's a lot of beautiful things to it. I don't regret it, but yeah,
it's
you can say
definitely
that.
a challenge
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, so obviously I'm having another child
yeah.
right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
as well.
So I'm not I thought about it, you know, after I had my stillborn. That was a complete accident.
Mhm.
Like even that pregnancy. All my pregnancies were accident. This is the
Yeah.
only one that was planned.
Hey, well, that's what's up.
Like, I'm gonna just be honest. Like, I
Nah,
wasn't
that's respect.
purposely
Yeah.
like, I want to have children. This is
Yeah.
what I have to do
Yeah.
to have them.
Yeah.
Nah, I was young the first
Mhm.
time. You know, that was a complete accident. The second time, I was confused because I know I took a plan B. I know
Mhm.
I did. It
Mhm.
didn't work. So, but you know what? Like, situations happen,
Mhm.
and if it was meant for that child to be here, they would
Mhm.
be here. You know,
Mhm.
God had a different plan,
Mhm.
you know, and it opened me up to a different level of healing,
Mhm.
and it made me become a different person,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm thankful for the experience, even
Mhm.
though it was traumatic.
Mhm.
I'm still thankful, you know,
Yeah,
I'm
for
grateful
sure.
for it, you know.
Mhm.
But I stopped having that idea of not wanting to have children because I wanted that partnership with a person, right? Especially like once healing and
Mhm.
learning more about feminine and masculine energy.
Mhm.
on a human level,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because in the spiritual
Mm-hmm.
realm is it's like one thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like the higher power is one
Mm-hmm.
entity. It's not
Mm-hmm.
separate from masculine and feminine,
Fact.
you know. So like on a human in a human realm,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we have masculine and feminine,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be able to embrace that masculine
Mm-hmm.
from someone else, not from myself, because
Correct.
I knew how to be a single mom and how to
Mm-hmm.
work and how to handle everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't be selfish in those moments. What if they wanted to procreate?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm the woman.
Yeah.
I have to. That's my
Mm-hmm.
role.
Mm-hmm.
He can't do it.
Yeah. Or he could with somebody else, but yeah, I
Nah,
got
but he
you.
can't carry the
Yeah,
child. Is
yeah,
what I'm
I got you.
saying.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So once I found a partner
Mm-hmm.
that understood, like, okay, this is what I need,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and this is what I can give you in
Mhm.
return.
Yeah.
You know, then I was okay with it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Got you. Okay. Now that's a beautiful thing, and I'm glad you said that. It was one thing you said in there that I want to double back on. I kind of just forgot it because I was listening, but once it come back to me, I'll double back on it. But as far as that, then as far as the transition, like you said, finding a partner and not believing in marriage. So now let's go into that a little more. The polygamy aspect, like how did
Mhm.
that come about for you?
Just understanding.
Mm-hmm.
I've never experienced it. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
never well, not on purpose
Mm-hmm.
anyway, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But just me in general,
Yeah.
like obviously I wasn't born, had one partner,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna end with that one partner. I
Yeah.
have multiple
Mm-hmm.
fathers for my children.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like so that's polygamy in itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I
Correct.
didn't
Mm-hmm.
stay with the same partner my whole lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have animals, you know,
Mm-hmm.
they're polygamous. They
Mm-hmm.
don't have the same mating
One.
partner every single time,
Yeah.
except the cardinal.
Mm-hmm.
You know they do, and if they lose
I
their
didn't know
partner,
that.
they
Yeah.
die.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
they stay
interesting.
together.
An interesting fact right there.
Yeah.
Okay. So with that, so like, was that always like? I know you said since obviously you're coming up or whatnot. Was that planned, or did you when obviously as you obviously have leveled up your mindset and consciousness? So at some point did that transition where you was like, all right, I'm open to this, or did it just happen? Like if that makes sense.
I saw it a lot growing up, so
Okay.
it wasn't like I was closed off to it
Mm-hmm.
because I always saw the man
Mm-hmm.
taking care of all the families, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But he was never. I've never seen a situation where the man was providing
Mm-hmm.
financially,
Mhm.
spiritually,
Mhm.
mentally, you know,
Mm-hmm.
emotionally to every single household.
Yeah.
Because he was broken too,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but he was providing financially, and
Mhm.
that was just enough for him,
Mm-hmm.
being that he had a family here, here, and here,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But I never saw like a man complete.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say complete, I mean in those aspects that I
Mhm.
just named.
Got you.
You know,
Yeah.
I never saw him completely given
All of.
to, even
Mhm.
now, like the children are older,
Mm-hmm.
they don't deal with him because
Mhm.
they feel like that was missing.
Mm-hmm.
And even though the financial was there,
Mm-hmm.
why were you doing this over
Yeah.
here, here, and here?
Yeah.
So it affects the woman and the children
Mhm.
mentally and emotionally
Mm-hmm.
and spiritually a
Yeah.
lot. You know, I think it's more of a benefit to men,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like it's a rich man's sport.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and rich not only in wealth,
Wealth, yeah. Financial,
financially,
yeah.
but spiritual
Mhm.
wealth too. Like you
Exactly.
got to know how to lead multiple families, and
Mhm.
if you can't do that, then
Don't
just
do
take a
it.
step back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
facts. Go get money, all right? So nah, I'm glad you said that because that goes back to like everything I just said at the beginning, evolving in every aspect. So mentally, spiritually, like, all these different aspects matter. And then even beyond that, and I remember what I wanted to say. Do you remember, because I know for me, I had one. Do you remember like anything that you read or was listening to when you was in that process of deciding having the child or even the second one, even though it was planned? Well, I guess the first two, your twins, because I know for me, I know I'm gonna double back on that one too. I know for me, I listened to a lot of Lauryn Hill during that time, to
Mhm.
Zion, and like that's the only thing I could listen to at that moment when I was trying to decide what route. So do you feel like you had like a book or a song that you listened to during those phases when you was just like you said, in that depression phase of like, all right, this is so many different aspects and you young trying to figure it out?
Yeah. At that point, I didn't know how to, because I had to go to therapy after that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like during the pregnancy,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't know how to utilize tools to help me progress. So I wasn't looking for a song or a book or whatever, because I used my coping mechanisms to heal writing, getting it out.
Yeah.
You know, but never somebody or something feeding me. You know, so after therapy, she woke me up.
Shout out to your therapist.
Yeah, they fired her from the practice because she
Why?
was waking people up.
Wait, why they fire her? Whoa,
I heard they
we're not gonna
fired
skip
her.
that.
I heard they
Fire
fired her
her
because
is
she was
crazy.
waking people up. She was telling them the truth.
Yeah.
And being the practice she worked in, like in the hospital,
Oh,
they wanted her to coddle.
Yes, people. Yeah.
And she wasn't with
Gonna
it.
do that,
And
yeah.
I was okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, she told me straight up, like, you think that you about to have help from him taking care of these kids?
Yeah.
Like, he's not doing that. Like, listen to how you explain the family dynamics to me. She told me about family dynamics. She told me about my family dynamics. She was like, nothing really wrong with you.
We need to get her on the show.
I don't know where she is. I don't even remember her name. Like, we spent a week together.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You might need to start calling that hospital or whatever and see, like, yo, tell them it's a old family member and you just gotta get the info, because I wonder if she would probably wind up opening her own practice at that point.
I don't know. She was older.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and she was telling me, like, when I went through school to become a doctor, I was pregnant and it was hard. So don't think it's going to be easy for you, because it's not.
Yeah.
You know, and she was real, and I appreciated that so much. You
need
know?
that.
But she exposed me to family dynamics, and she told me, you know, what do you use to help you go? Like, so you don't break down again, so you don't have another mental breakdown in this space. Like, you release through writing, but if that's not enough, how else can you release but feed yourself back?
Yeah.
You know, she taught me that. So it was more, the main thing that I grabbed from it is, if something is causing issues, like within, like your parents, separate yourself from them. It doesn't matter who they are to you.
Fact.
It's damaging you, and you all you have.
Facts.
Like, at the end of the day, nobody walking with you. You know, nobody can have that connection with God with you. It's just you and your higher power, and
Facts.
that's it.
And nobody gonna transition with you either when it's that time. So that's a fact.
Nobody born with you, even if you have a twin. Like, it's not
the
still
same.
just you.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
you your own entity. You know, so when she explained it like that, I grasped it like that.
Yeah.
And I moved forward.
Well, I definitely hope you find her, because that's beautiful. Like you said, that it's gonna be really rare to find people that's gonna give it to you like that, especially when they work for these corporations and that's what keep their bills on. Like, it's gonna be really, really rare. So
she was older. She did not care. You know how, like, old people just speak their mind?
Say whatever.
That was her.
I got
not
you.
Care.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a beautiful thing, though. And I want to just also double back on this, because I want to commend you, because I think, and I already seen it, and I could hear it, obviously, from what you already said, like the level of consciousness you've reached. But for you to, I don't know if you always had this at some point, but this is also why I started the brand, like just realizing some of the worst situations that people could look at or feel like are the worst situations in that moment. When you level up and you evolve, you realize these are somewhat the greatest moments, and you're grateful for them. So when I heard you say you was grateful for the stillborn, not in the sense of obviously that you glad it happened, but you found peace in it, I think a lot of people have not got to that point yet. And I feel like that's actually what my mission is. So to hear you say that, I just want to commend you, because I know it's probably a mother out there right now that may have went through that or going through that right now, or may even be about to start going through that. Not to wish it on them, but that's just what it's going to be, that they don't know. They may feel like, yo, that's the worst thing. So for you to be in a point or in a place where you found peace in it and you're grateful for it, and you found like not a single strain in your body where you just like feel away, you at peace with it, I just think that's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
Nah, for sure. And I'll just say, like, if it's anything you can give to somebody that's going through that or been through that, what would that be? A mother-wise, or even a family, actually.
Yeah. Okay. For me, the way the situation occurred, like what happened, it was out of anybody's control. You know what I'm saying? Like, It could have been detected if
Mhm.
if it was looked for
Mhm.
earlier,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it wasn't.
Mhm.
It didn't fall like that.
Yeah.
So I'm a strong believer in
Mhm.
everything happens for a reason.
Facts.
Sometimes you just gotta, like I said, be quiet,
Mhm.
and the reasoning will come to you.
Mhm.
But and sometimes it takes time too. Like,
Mhm.
you're not just gonna sit there in silence and then 5 minutes later you have the answers. It don't
Mhm.
work like that. Sometimes you gotta
Facts.
go through life and more experience to say,
Mhm.
okay, had to happen
Yeah.
to me for me to get to this point. So um back to your question,
Mhm.
it depends on the reasoning. Like,
Mhm.
if you lost your child because you was wilding,
Yeah.
then yeah, it's your fault.
Yeah.
So you definitely should feel crazy.
Yeah. Hopefully they can get to
But
peace too, though. Like,
yeah,
cause you never
but
know.
but
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
then though, it's like experiences.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like you learn, you
Yeah.
live and you
Exactly.
learn.
Yeah.
So even then, like, you still have to come to common grounds and say, you know what,
Mhm.
if if the situation was different,
Mhm.
where would I be?
Mhm.
You know.
Fact.
So that's what I did for myself.
Mhm.
A lot of people, they think like, well, it's about what they want
Mhm.
and not necessarily what they need.
Correct.
Like, oh, I wanted my baby so bad,
Mhm.
so it should have been here. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, but if that baby was here, then what?
Mhm.
Like, you probably
The
being that
consequences.
being that your mental state is what it is now,
Mhm.
you had to be far worse before.
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't have even been there for that child
What
to
they need.
give what
Yeah.
they need.
Mhm.
And how I look at it, like, my baby had a strong spirit,
Mhm.
a strong soul,
Mhm.
and we connected.
Mhm.
Like, we would have conversations. It was crazy. Like, I would talk to my baby all the time.
Mhm.
So when my baby disconnected,
Mhm.
I didn't notice it when it happened, because it happened so quickly.
Yeah.
It was like, it wasn't a time where I was just going a week with a
Mhm.
deceased baby inside. It wasn't like that. It was
Mhm.
like, one day I felt the baby move, and the next day I found out that he wasn't here no more.
Mhm.
So for me, like, it was a transition that needed to occur. Like,
Mhm.
it just wasn't meant to be.
Mhm.
And I accepted that part. So most people have to accept, like, it wasn't meant.
Nah, that's beautiful. I just soaking that up because I really hope that helps somebody out there that is going through that or will be going through that, because that's a beautiful how you just wrapped it up. It's just the way you spoke it. So I just commend you again for it. And I want to ask you, do you feel like at some point, even with your children's father, do you feel like, I know you said they don't speak to them now. Do you feel like at some point
No, they speak to their dad.
oh, okay, I
My
think
girls speak to their dad.
it was at some point they didn't. You said somebody didn't want to deal with them. Okay, it
No.
wasn't that. It was some. Okay, you were saying for you then.
For me,
Okay. I thought you
I
said
don't want
it
to deal
twice.
with him.
Okay, you don't want. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So that's good. So okay,
Yeah.
that's what you said. So with
Yeah.
that, do you feel like at some point, obviously people evolve. I believe people should be evolving. Do you feel like at some point you could get to that point if you find a place of peace, and maybe bro finds he evolves too, that y'all could like someone just coexist, not saying be together, but coexist where y'all could have a conversation.
Okay, I feel like this. My
Mm-hmm.
daughters are 12 now. They're old enough to have whatever relationship or
Mm-hmm.
conversation they need to have with
Mm-hmm.
their father. It doesn't have to be a person that I carry on
Mm-hmm.
in my future.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's no benefit to me.
Got you.
And as far as evolving, that's why it's no benefit to me. I have, and I don't feel like it's like that on both parts.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw that when I saw that, which is
Mhm.
why I made the separation
Mm-hmm.
and decided to do what I needed to do
Mm-hmm.
to be able to support me and my children,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't getting that.
Hey, so be it then.
Yeah.
All right. So when we going let's talk about when we gonna get some food. We're gonna get some of the chef food. And then also I want you to go in about, like, obviously just let them know about obviously your cookbook. And I'm gonna say, I told you I tried one of your recipes and I messed it up. So that's why I'm just gonna be honest. I don't need to cook no more. It's like, no, I'm gonna still cook, but I need to try the
Nah.
food you be making. Cause I be seeing it and I be like, yo.
But you want to know what's crazy though?
Mm-hmm.
Even when I try a recipe for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
it's not it. Even if I follow
And you
what's
record it?
written, not
Oh,
like
in general, okay.
even if if I record it and it look
Mhm.
good, I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, this is good content, but it
Mhm.
don't taste good.
Appreciate the transparency.
Yeah, that's real.
Mhm.
I was
Yeah.
watching a YouTube last
Mhm.
night, Sweet Green,
Mhm.
and I love her YouTube, right?
Mhm.
So she talks about vegan
Mhm.
and shares like what she eats.
Mhm.
And she made a salad dressing and she was like, I just threw something in here, you
Mhm.
know. I would not tell you to try this yet.
Mhm.
Give me time
Mhm.
to perfect the recipe.
Mhm.
And that's true,
Yeah. Fact.
especially with being vegan. Like
Mhm.
you trying stuff, you mixing stuff in a bowl. You like,
Oh
let me
yeah.
see what this sauce tastes
No,
like.
that's a fact.
Like it dawned on me yesterday or maybe 2 days ago
Mhm.
to use Dijon for my honey mustard instead
Mhm.
of yellow mustard.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, why wasn't I doing
Doing
this
that.
all
Yeah.
before? You know, so it's like stuff. It comes.
Nah, appreciate it. You just gave me some peace. I'm gonna get back in the kitchen. Nah, I wasn't gonna leave the kitchen because it is hard. Like you gotta cook as a vegan, and especially out here, it's vegan options, but it's not as many in other places. So
Yeah.
it's like so I appreciate that because that's like, yeah, I'm gonna definitely work on my stuff. Cause like, I cook like simple stuff. Like when I first transitioned, I didn't know what to eat. I started with like the Beyond Meat. After that, I had to get out of that. I don't even touch that no more. Do you feel like you started with that too when you
No, when
first?
I first
No,
went vegan, I wasn't.
it wasn't even around
Uh,
probably then. Yeah,
nah, not. It came about later,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
and then I tried it, and I was like,
Nah, this ain't it.
it's cool,
Mm-hmm.
but it still make me feel how meat
Yeah,
made me feel. So I
got
didn't
you.
like it. But um um when it comes to like just cooking in general, or
Mm-hmm.
like when you said you can't find food some places,
Mm-hmm.
I always find food. You know
All
what
right,
I
well,
do?
send me the list.
Nah, like it's not even. Sometimes the restaurant not vegan at all, right? Like I've been to a restaurant and it's nobody knew what vegan was in this town at all, right?
Okay.
But the chef was vegan, so you gotta communicate sometimes.
Mm,
So I asked, I was like, "Is there any vegan options?" And it was like, "Not on the menu." But our chef is
the
vegan.
butt.
They just cook
Yeah,
this food for a
yeah,
job.
yeah,
So I went to him and I'm like, I need food. And he said, I understand.
yeah.
And he made, like,
Some
what?
fire.
He went in
Some
there and whipped something
fire.
up.
He probably
Like,
got excited because he
yeah,
like,
he
this
was
is my food.
happy.
Yeah.
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 So, and most of the time, it's people from different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can go to an Asian restaurant that's not vegan and I can
Mhm.
tell them I'm vegan.
Yeah.
Easy.
Mhm.
Indian restaurants,
Yeah.
easy. Like, because they know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I feel like Americans,
Mhm.
they're so distant from it.
Mhm.
Like it's a foreign language to them
Mhm.
to be vegan.
Yeah.
When other cultures, because it's in religion,
Yeah.
most religions are
Mhm.
vegetarian based.
Mhm. Correct. Nah, and I wanted to say, I'm glad you said that. It's funny because this is my issue, right? I'm glad you said it because I be going to spots because I have to. I'm probably the only vegan in my family as of right now. Like, and then I just left my brothers and we wanted to go out to eat. But I'm like, bro, I'm gonna have to bring my own food because everywhere we going, they not gonna have vegan options. And most of the time, they probably just gonna have like the basics, French fries. Like, I don't want French fries. I want to eat something good. So
You
the
gotta
thing,
stop being picky. It's like
nah, you're right. But nah, so I went to we went somewhere either way, right? And I would ask people like, and even sometimes even at vegan restaurants, I ask people, especially the vegan restaurants, I ask them, all right, is anybody in here vegan? And it'd be everybody that's not vegan. So it's like I'd be like, I'm trying to ask for recommendations even at vegan restaurants. And it's like nobody's vegan. So as a vegan, it's like I'd rather speak to a vegan on what's good because if you're not vegan, you're gonna be like, it's okay, I don't really like it, or
Yeah.
it's cool. Like vegans know like what's good to us. Like it can't
Yeah.
just be like some regular basic stuff. Like, is it good? Don't tell me it's all right. You're not vegan, so you're not gonna understand.
Right,
So
right.
that'd be my issue when I go to spots, vegan or even non-vegan.
Yeah.
You can't really tell me if it's good.
But how long have you been vegan?
This month makes my 1 year anniversary. Yeah.
You still new.
Yeah. I'm new
Yeah.
out here. That's why.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why I'm out to see the spots you be at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I'll go on Uber Eats or something. I see a
Mhm.
lot of vegan restaurants, and I'm like, I don't want that.
It don't be
I don't
looking
want that.
good though.
I don't
Some of
want
the spots don't be looking good.
The Asian spots though.
What's the
Asian
top
spots
spots right now in
always.
Atlanta that you like? Just give me
Planta
2. Oh, all right. Say
and
less.
Las Amelia.
I ain't been there. About to go there
It's a
right
Cuban.
after this.
It's a Cuban spot.
I'm gonna get
Well,
that.
it's Latin. Yeah, Latin,
Okay.
Cuban Latin. But yeah, get the Cubano.
I'm about to go there right after there. Say
Yeah.
less.
It
I'm
opens
looking
at 5 though, so it's dinner only.
That's fine. Say
Okay.
less. I'm gonna get it to go if I got it somewhere else to be. So
Yeah.
I want to ask you this. I always ask all my guests this, and obviously I know you're gonna have a great one. Because there's no wrong answer. What, in your own words, what does evolving through experience mean to you?
Everything we talked about. Yeah, everything we talked about for sure. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to go through it to be able to grow.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So you have to, like my grandmother used to say, you gotta eat some shit. You gotta be able to grow.
Nah,
Like
hey,
she
say
used to say
less.
that all the time. So I'm like, what? I'm not doing that, grandma.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
thinking literally.
Yeah.
But no, she like you have to go through life
Mm-hmm.
experiences to be able
Mm-hmm.
to become a better person.
Fact.
And if you go through those experiences and you don't let it teach you anything, like
You're gonna dissolve.
yeah.
Evolve or
Like why you
dissolve.
here?
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
so be it. Hopefully people can get there. So obviously I know why you transitioned too. This was one of my questions. Do you feel like you will ever go back? Or have you ever had, like, even in the past, not withdrawals, but feel like you may go back eventually? No? Okay. So
Nah.
I'm glad I'm not alone, because I my friends be like, yo, bro, you've been a year. Like, come on, come back to this side. But I'm seeing so many benefits from it that I don't think I ever want to go back. I don't
Yeah.
think it's gonna make sense. I think for some people that I know that's been vegan for like 10 plus years, they transition back and they had their reasons. I think it's just a matter of what works for everybody else. But I didn't know if you had a reason, or if you ever thought about it.
Even on a spiritual level,
Mhm.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
see the benefits.
yeah, the benefits for sure. But when I had my stillborn,
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't completely vegan at pregnancy. You know, like
Mm.
I would eat seafood,
Mm.
like because I craved it.
Mm-hmm.
But it would make me sick every time. You
Mm.
know, but it was a craving, and I'm thinking
Mm.
like, oh, I have to have it.
Yeah.
But afterwards, after going through what I went through, and
Mm.
like when I started getting deeper into meditation,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it just stuck to me. Like,
Mm.
nah, vegan is the way. Like,
Yeah.
then if you read the Bible, if you
Mm.
read any holy book, like
Mm-hmm.
it tells you that.
Yeah.
It tells you to practice a vegetarian diet.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially when you're trying to get closer to God.
Mm-hmm.
So it's in Daniel. It's in Leviticus.
Mm-hmm.
It's in I think Revelation talks about it too, but I know Leviticus for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Daniel talks about it too, because he told the people that he's not eating
Mm-hmm.
meat.
Yeah.
Like he's like, nah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
eating pulse.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's what they
Yeah.
use in the Bible, but that's green
Mm-hmm.
and veggies. You know, so he said that, and he convinced them to
To
get
do
the
the
others to
same.
do it,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody was closer to God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah, beautiful. And with that, I got my last two questions was, even with that, my last two, you just said it. I just missed it right there. Um, I'll come back to it. Then I'll double back on this one. Do you ever, like, I know you said now, this day and time, like a lot of people just promoting the polygamy. What do you feel like? Not even what you feel like. Where do you see like the disconnect where people, I guess, doing it for the wrong reasons, and how do you feel like that came about, if that makes sense?
It's ego,
Mm-hmm. Ego. Mm-hmm.
emotional
Mm-hmm.
damage, and stuff like that. Like
Mm-hmm.
men think, oh, polygamy mean having sex with two women in the house and getting
Mm-hmm.
them to do what I say do,
Mm-hmm.
and like, cause you battling with your ego, or you
Mm-hmm.
emotionally damaged, and you
Yeah.
need all of this validation,
Mm-hmm.
and just stuff
Wrong
like
reason.
that.
Yeah.
It's no real reason.
Yeah, got you.
You
And I
know?
think that's even wrong, even in a regular relationship. Like if the ego's the same reasons of what you just mentioned, I think that's the same, and even in a monogamous relationship,
Mhm.
monogamy. So I think that's just a matter of people, like you said, dealing with that and evolving. Because again, my favorite thing is, I'm gonna always say, evolve or dissolve. You're gonna either evolve or you're gonna dissolve. So I definitely agree with that. So lastly, I don't remember what the other thing was, but what is one book that you recommend that you read without any time in your life time period that you could recommend, or that had a huge impact on you?
3 Magic Words by Yul Anderson.
3 Magic Words.
Yeah.
That Yul Anderson.
Yeah.
All right, but I'm gonna have to download that on
It's
my phone.
UELL.
UELL.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was the biggest impact that you took away from that?
It teaches you how to think.
Think.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of humans don't know how to think, so
yeah,
that's good.
It gives you different aspects. It's like it's simple.
Yeah.
It's real simple.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's kind of everything we spoke about for real. Like it teaches you how to think on a higher level without too much effort.
As you should.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any last words? Anything you want to let people know where they can follow you at? Any last words you just want to leave the audience? And again, I appreciate you having you on. Like, I definitely enjoyed the episode. But any last words you could tell the people?
What camera do I look at?
You can look at this one. This is your personal camera.
Okay. Okay. So you can follow me on Instagram at _Sharnise or Vibes with a Vegan. You know, my website is Vibes with a Vegan. I have my cookbooks, CMOS, some magic. Everything's available on the site.
Facts. Is she gonna be cooking for us right now? Hey, but I appreciate you again. If y'all enjoyed another episode of Evolving Through Experience, make sure y'all follow us on all platforms. Share it with a friend. And if you're not evolving today, you're dissolving. So start today. It doesn't matter where you are in life right now. It's just a matter of you knowing you want to get to the next level. So catch y'all in the next episode. Peace.
I'm a bad